Testing, 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 testing. Sounds kind of choppy here. Let me see something, y'all. Okay, looks like I will be back. I gotta get a better microphone. The one I want to use sounds like somebody's typing in the back office somewhere in the bunker. I'll be right back. Okay, that should be better. Do one more test and we'll begin. Do apologize. Yeah, much better. All right, everybody. Good morning to you, wherever you are at in the world today. This was planned at about 1 a.m. in the morning yesterday. Because I had set up a plan to do these live streams on Sunday at 1 p.m. I plan to do these live streams, but things happen. That's what life's about. 1 second. I'm still setting up here. Yeah, so, okay, first, let me just give you a very, very, very brief breakdown of who I am, what the channel is about briefly. So I am MAAT'S. I've had this channel open for about 6 months. And wasn't planning on really doing anything with it other than using it as a second channel because my original channel that's been up for about 11 years now is, it has multiple strikes on it. So it's a sinking ship. It could go down any time. So I basically just abandoned ship. Whatever's on there from my past is on there. So if you type in Ahati Ma'at, you can go check it out. I'm very transparent. There's not much that I do hide. Of course, we all have our secrets. But if you just put in Ahati Ma'at in Google, it may come up. And you can check out that perspective of my life. But I went through something recently within the last couple months. It opened my eyes to things that I didn't see before. And our emotions will do that. They will assist us at times too. Emotions aren't always bad. They will assist us at times too. And I had what you could call a cleansing. Some may call it a spiritual cleansing. I'm of the notion that we never stop growing, that we're always enhancing and advancing as we're going through this journey that we call life. And I had one of those. I hadn't cried in a long, long time, to the point where I was wondering, do I still shed tears? And I'm not talking about tears of joy. I'm talking about like a serious sobbing type of tears. Something that's hidden deep down inside of you that's clawing to come out. And it finally does. So I went through an episode like that, and I had a spiritual, I like to call it my second spiritual awakening. And someday I'll mention my first, but I had a second spiritual awakening. So one of the processes of that is I decided to do something with the second channel, basically reinvent it. Reinvent my second channel to help people find what they're looking for if it pertains to the topics that I'm going to be speaking about here on this channel, which are history, culture, sex, relationships, drugs, alcohol, a whole plethora of things I'm going to be going over that can basically almost touch everybody. I've lived a very experienced, versatile life. I've been on both sides of, they would call the tracks. I've lived on park benches, and I've lived in mansions with elevators that you ride from the top floor down to the garage. So I've experienced a lot. I can interact and mesh with virtually everybody. And that has its downfalls too, because you can become a chameleon, as they say, and you can lose a sense of yourself while doing that, because it can put you in a survival type mindset. It can put you in a survival mode. And like I always say in the past videos, there is no good or bad. There just is what we perceive to be wrong or right. So there is no good or bad. It's just what we perceive to be wrong or right. And I've learned that in my life as I go on and as I journey. So knowing that, I decided, well, time is short. That was part of the awakening. Time is very, very short, meaning that this may be my last live. I don't know. I don't know what happens within the next 10 minutes. So why sit and wait around for the perfect time to do anything when all we have is the moment right now? So that's why I reinvented this channel. And I'm kind of going in a different direction with how I was going before, only because I know that people are going through a lot of issues, a lot of problems, a lot of things, and it just seems to be getting worse and worse, especially if you live in the Western world or Western society. After what happened between 2019 and 2022, a lot of people are seeking a solution. They're seeking help, and they just don't know how to ask. So I'm trying to give them that opportunity so that they can. So as a disclaimer, as I always do with all my live streams, is that I'm part of a great organization. I will not mention them here, but if you go to the About section below, you can click on it and you will find a full disclaimer. Or you can go to the first video in this Awakening series, Awakening playlist, and you will see me break down the disclaimer. The only reason why I have it is because I'm going to be talking about all types of different topics here, a lot of them personal, and I may get attacked or confronted. And I don't want anything to happen to the people that are in this organization. I don't want them to be defamed or disrespected, basically. So I will not be mentioning them here. But it's really easy for you to find out what organization I'm a part of if you just Google me. Okay, so yesterday I planned to go live. Well, I did go live. I didn't plan. I did go live. And right before I went live, I went through the whole introduction and I said that why I got striked, why I got copyrighted. And YouTube has their ways of doing whatever they do. And yesterday they shut down my stream because what I had set up was I was going to use clips from a movie called Limitless. Great movie. See, there's 3 main movies that I really like. 3 main movies. Oh, before I forget, because I'm staring at the glass right now. I'm not going to do a long intro into my oil business, but yes, another part of this channel is I'm here to promote my businesses, which is MAAT'S, and it's body oils. I sell body oils. I sell complements of designer oils, and I also sell my own oils. I also do teaching. I have students that I teach in the ancient Egyptian language and how they can utilize that within their own life. I also do coaching. I do life coaching to clients to assist them to gain more courage, confidence, more focus, more intuition, more motivation, more ambition. So I do that too. I also write books. Behind me is one of my textbooks for my teachings in the ancient Egyptian language. It's called Freedom Through God's Word, and it's part of the Journey of Your Soul series. I'm currently working on a second book right now called Lightland. That's moving a lot slower than I expected, only because and people are asking me about it, only because I got a lot going on. I'm real busy right now. And with this first book over here, I wanted to get that out as fast as possible. So I wrote that within a couple months. Wrote it, edited it, and sent it off to the publisher. And that's part of what today's about. Is that you will get the energy that you want. I don't like using the word need, because the only thing we really need is food, shelter, and clothing. Everything else is a luxury, in my opinion. Others may disagree, but in my opinion, all you need is food, and I would include oxygen within that too, because our oxygen is part of the water, so we need oxygen. But we just need the basic elements to keep us going. Everything else is for comfort. Uh, so you'll get energy to create whatever you want to create within the day, if you really want to create it. That's the key, if you really want to. So I really wanted to put out a book as fast as possible, and I did. And so the second book is coming out soon. Projected time probably somewhere between March of next year. I'd really like to put that one out, and it's going to be a larger book, and it's going to be dealing with what people call the afterlife. It's going to be dealing with the other light realm, because we're in two light realms. But I'll get into that as we go further into these live streams. So I have these body oils, and one that just came out is Kashi Musk. Can't really see the label, but Kashi Musk, and this is our 10 millimeter roller bottle. So you just real easy application on your wrist, and they're both fire. I'm going to be putting out new promo ads where people are actually saying that. Then we have Sesh Butter. Now, before I move on to Sesh Butter, with Kashi Musk, it has a light musky scent, and it almost smells like think about when your grandmother was making up those hot baked oven cookies, and you smell that buttery scent. And it's not really a buttery body oil, but it comes off like really light buttery scent with a light musk and a vanilla base. The Sesh Butter has a heavier vanilla base to it, and has like a lacquer or a licorice type scent to it. And this is a favorite too. And both my oils, these oils hold a lot of perfume or scent, which mixes in with your own body oil, which lasts a long time. So I will be creating some new ads soon for that. We also have a fragrance list, and I also do send out samples with every purchase of the 10 milliliter bottles. So you will get samples, and we do have a fragrance list. And one of my new samples that I got that I really didn't like at first was called Gravinci Gentleman, because of the cinnamon, woodsy, and whiskey type fragrance scent. It almost like stung my nostrils. But here's the key with oils. Here's the key with body oils. They don't have as much alcohol in them as the toilet or what you're used to, cologne sprays. So what I noticed through my experience is that just because I don't like something the first time I put it on about 3 more times, and after the third time, if I still don't like it, I shelf it. I put it away. I literally put it away on the shelf. So with this one, at first I couldn't stand it, the Gravinci Gentleman. But then I put it on, and now I love it. So give the oils a chance. When you receive your samples, give them a chance, because when you go back to them at a later time, depending on what your mood is, your mood has a lot to do with it too, your emotional state. You may be interested and really fall in love with that oil or oils like I do. And so the Sesh Butter and the Kashi Musk are my designs, but I also sell a lot of compliments too. So right now we have, for sale, we have the Blue Day Chanel. We have Armani Code Black. We have Issey Miyake. Yeah, we have those compliments right now, and they're selling fast. So make sure you contact me soon, because it takes me at least a couple weeks to get the materials in and to mix everything together and to create these fantastic oils. Okay, so let me get back to what I was saying before. So I created this live stream yesterday. And of course, during midstream, I'm showing the clips of the movie Limitless. If you haven't seen Limitless, it's a great movie. It's one of my three favorite. My first is Inception. My second is The Matrix. And my third is Limitless. So I chopped up all these clips to show you yesterday, and halfway during the stream, they cut it off. YouTube shut it down. They said, no more. We're not doing it anymore. No more for you. And it's a shame because people love a visual. It helps them retain knowledge better or information better. So it is what it is, as they say. I actually appealed them. They got back to me this morning and they let me know that I don't have any strikes on this channel. But of course, I can't repeat what I did yesterday. So I will not be showing clips today. I may be mentioning different parts. So that's a spoiler alert. I may be mentioning different parts of the movie, but I will not be showing the clips today. But I do recommend that you watch it if you've never seen it before. Now, I want to show you the cover before we begin. When you look at the cover here, depending how you're looking at it on the right or the left-hand side, you will see what looks like a bird with its wings spread, and it's holding two objects. That, in ancient Egyptian language, is called that Horus Bahutet or Haru Bahutet. And it's dealing with, one of the aspects of it is it's dealing with our vision, because the falcon is the symbol of the falcon. The falcon is known as having one of the greatest visions on the planet. You can see its prey from miles and miles away before it attacks it. And we should really be looking at what we want to attack the same way, whatever it is, whatever target goal we have in mind. First, we must have a vision to attack that goal. So let's get into it. So when I was showing the clips yesterday, clip one said, say one thing and do another. Say one thing and do another. Oh, by the way, I actually have the Heru Bahutet right here. You can see it's the same thing, see? So on the cover, you see it right there. I'm actually wearing it right here. But in the first clip of the movie, it shows an author. His name is Eddie, and you can tell he's clearly distracted. He's trying to get his work done, and he basically doesn't know how to control himself. And that's what happens. When we don't know how to control ourselves, we get distracted. So he goes in with a mindset that he's going to finally get this book done that he's working on, but it ends up showing him doing other things. It shows him bouncing the basketball off the wall. It shows him picking at his feet. It shows him eating pizza. And he says he's not going to leave the apartment until he gets his work done, until he gets this book done. Well, of course, what does he do? He ends up leaving the apartment because he's saying one thing and he's doing another. And we all know people like this. We all know people like this. We all know people that say one thing and they do another. Excuse me, let me do something real quick here. I forgot to post the link into the chat. I'm going to post my bio link, which is similar to Linktree, where you can find all my links, all my social media links. You just click on the link here, and you'll be able to find me anywhere. So clearly, Eddie was distracted because we get distracted when we say one thing or say one thing and do another. And a lot of us do that. A lot of us may have done that, like me in the past, because it's easier to talk. It's a lot easier for me to talk than. Let me turn on the music. So it's easier for me to say one thing or to talk than to actually put it into practice, as I say, or to do something. So, for instance, with my book, I wanted to get the book done as quickly as possible. I projected a time I could get done in a month, only because I'm a very good writer. And writing to me is like breathing air. I can do it basically almost unconsciously. That's how much I love writing. So I projected a month. I got it done in 2 months because of the editing and the publishing and everything like that. Uh, but if I had just sat and just visualized it, people make these vision boards and they visualize things, which is fine. I'm not knocking. You got to grab an image in your mind because if you don't have an image, you don't have a direction. You don't know what you're going after, basically. So, of course, yeah, put the image in your mind. But it's very easy for me, at least, to sit on that image or to focus on that image intently to the point where I'm over analyzing every little detail. And before I know it, the months are flying by and I'm not getting what I desire and what I want to accomplish in the long run. And we all desire something. Whatever it is, we all desire something. And the only way we can achieve what we desire is to work towards it. So when we say something to somebody, we must follow through on it. Now, let me give you a caveat because I do this too. If I say something and I can't follow through on it, especially if I'm dealing in an interrelationship with somebody else, out of respect for my time, because by me respecting my time, I'm respecting the other person's time, I will reach out to that person first. They will not come to me. That's just how I am. That's just me. Because I don't want to have to go chasing somebody to find out, hey, what's the deal? I thought we had a meeting or I thought we were getting together. What's going on? I want to know as quickly as possible so that I can rearrange and do what I got to do for the rest of the day. Because, like I said in the beginning of this broadcast, time is all we got in the end, and we don't have much of it. So, if we're dealing with things, people that waste their time, we're in big trouble. So, I will reach out to the person and say, hey, listen, I got to do such and such, and I can't make it. Now, I'm going to tell you something. When I wasn't doing that in the past, it was because I had fear and I was dishonest with not only others, of course, because you're dishonest with others because you're dishonest with yourself. Once you lose fear of who you really are and accept you for all your flaws and everything that you're made up to be, um, in essence, you don't care. You really don't care. You really don't care. And that sounds cold, but it's not. It's the reality. You think the other species on the planet really care if they bite you, it's going to hurt you? No. They're thinking about them first. And what it always comes down to is our survival. And the survival on the physical plane and survival on the mental plane, or some religious people say spiritual or. But if you're not honest, you can't reach out to the person to reschedule. You're not even thinking about things like that. So today, it still amazes me because I wasn't doing this my entire life. I've only been doing this recently, and it works. That's why I'm talking about it today. See, this is part of breaking the limit we put on ourselves because we're truly limitless. And I'm going to continue to show you how to become limitless. But the first thing we must stop doing is saying one thing and doing another. If you don't want to do something, tell the person, hey, I can't do this today, or I can't make it, or I can't, whatever it is. You don't have to do anything unless there is a gun to your head, unless you're going to be waterboarded, tortured, unless there's some serious pain coming before your death. Okay, then I could see you saying one thing and doing another. Because, like I said before, there is no good or bad. It's just the moment by moment process and there's survival life that we live. That's what it is. So yes, deception has its place too. We're deceptive in order to eat, just like other species. If you went up to the species that you want to eat and say, "Hey, I'm going to kill you right now because I need to eat you," they're going to run away. So you have to be deceptive. However, what we do is we're deceptive just because out of fear. There is no advantage a lot of times to lying to yourself. Actually, there's no advantage to lying to yourself. There really is. There's no advantage to lying to yourself. And when you're lying to yourself, so for instance, so the character, he gets distracted and he leaves after he says in the beginning he's not going to leave. Why is he doing this? It's because he's lying to himself. And you'll see this when you watch the movie. Just like me, there was times in my life where I would say one thing and do another. Okay, so for instance, I'll give you some. There was a time I used to take on a lot of responsibility, a lot of tasks at one time because at that time I didn't know how to manage my time. So people would ask me to do things for them, or I would take on different tasks. I would take on multiple tasks, and I couldn't handle all of them. I couldn't complete all of them. I knew I couldn't complete all of them, but just to make the other person happy, or to please people, or to prove something, I would take on these tasks and saying, "Hey, I can only do such and such today, and I apologize, but I can't do anything else for you." I wouldn't do that. So I'd say one thing, and then I would get overwhelmed, and then what I told the person or even told myself what I was going to get done would never get done because I'm overwhelmed. Because we only have so much energy in the course of the day. We only have so much energy in the course of the day. We can't do everything. Do you know that there's times uh, now where I will be in the middle of doing something and I will take a break. Sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 20, sometimes an hour. Because today I listen to my body. See, you can say whatever you want, but your body is operating in honest energy, let's say. Your body is living within the universe. The universe is the most honest thing you can perceive. It does because it's just here. It doesn't need to do anything to be anything different than what it is. This is how I operate today. So today I listen to my body a lot, and I can say anything I want to my body. This is why diets don't work. This is why diets don't work. I would never tell anybody to go on a diet. When I talk to people that I'm trying to help, I never mention the word diet. They do, but I don't say diet because it doesn't matter what you say to yourself. It really doesn't. What matters is, are you lying to yourself? Are you really listening to what you're saying to yourself? And are you accepting that, hey man, I am 400 pounds. There is no way I'm doing 10 push ups right now. I don't care how motivated a hottie is in coaching me or training me. I am not doing, and you know what? I would never tell a 400-pound person to do any type of exercises until they start reducing how much they eat. Because when you exercise, you get hungrier. When you're exercising, you get hungrier. And if you're like me and you're putting in work, you're putting in 60 to 90 minutes. I've actually cut down my exercise time because the more efficient, just like anything in life, the more efficient you are at something, the less time you need to accomplish that goal. But man, when I'm done with my workout routine, I am hungry. So why would I tell somebody that's morbidly obese to get in the gym with me first? I would never do that. Why would I tell them you need to go on a diet? I'm not going to do that. They're going to do the opposite and eat more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them what I do, what works, And then I'm going to periodically ask them, have they changed anything in their eating habits since we last talked? And if they say no, well, that's on them. Because it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what that person says to themselves, doesn't matter what you say to yourself. If you're not going to do what you say, then everything else is irrelevant. And this is the key. Sometimes it's better not to say anything at all. I've actually cut down a lot on what I say to myself and even to others. And I just sit back now more and observe people. And this is coming from a person that loves to talk. Um, so in this case, less is necessary. If you're going to say something, make sure you follow through with it and do it, because this is part of breaking that limited mindset and truly becoming the limitless being, the limitless spirit, the limitless energy that the universe is, that created us to be. All right, let's move on to clip number 2 that I showed. Clip number 2 dealt with Eddie. By this time in the movie, Eddie is in the office. He's working for a big firm that's run by Robert De Niro's character. Robert De Niro is once again ragging on Eddie and getting him to change. And he just calling him a liar. He thinks there's something that Eddie's doing that he just feels like Eddie's lying, which Eddie is lying to him, of course, because Eddie's lying to himself. So Eddie's in his office. He gets this package, and it says "Return to Sender" on the package. And he looks at the package, and he doesn't know what it is, but he just hears Robert De Niro's character squawking in the background. You know how when you hear people and they're just ragging on you, and you don't even hear them, you kind of just tune them out. I used to do that a lot. Um, so Eddie opens up the package, and when he pulls the box open, there's two hands in it. This might have got my clip taken down, but there's two severed hands in it because Eddie had hired bodyguards. Why did he hire bodyguards? We'll get to that, because the whole premise of the film is Eddie took this new drug called NZT, and it's supposed to give your brain laser focus by basically manipulating the neurons and enhancing the amount of knowledge that you can take in and retain. We'll get to that too. So, of course, this drug is very expensive, and there's a lot of people, such as mafia, governments, that want their hands on it, because people always want to be enhanced, to have a better life than what they currently are living. So, how did the hands come to the office? Well, so Eddie decided to take these pills off his friend who got murdered in his apartment and keep them for himself, because Eddie had tried one of them and they did change his life overnight. And that's how he got the job in the firm. And that's how he ended up in the position that he was in on the day he got the package with the severed hands in it. The severed hands were from his bodyguards. He had hired bodyguards because he was being threatened by this Russian character, this Russian mafia character who had loaned him some money. That's another part of the movie. So he hired bodyguards thinking that he's safe and protected, and it's just an illusion. So what am I getting at? So lack of control and lies create doubt. Lack of control and lies create doubt. Again, it goes back to what I was saying before. Once we begin lying to ourselves, it really doesn't matter what else we say to anybody else. Once we begin lying to ourselves, it does not matter what we say to anybody else. It really doesn't. And then we lose control. And then the doubt creeps in. And doubt comes from the word "to." That's where these sayings such as "that person is double-minded," which is true. Which goes back to saying one thing and doing another. See, everything is all connected. That's why if you notice some people's lives, it could be your life that you're watching right now. Some people's lives, you notice them, it could be mom, dad, father, brother, sister, mother, whatever it is. Some people's lives look like they always have it together. Like they always know the right thing to say. They always know what to do. They know how, excuse me, they always know how to handle each situation that they're in. This is only happening because they don't lack control over themselves. I'm not talking about other people because we can't control other people. We can only control our reaction to how others operate around us. And believe me, I've lost control many times before I've had this knowledge that I have now that I'm giving to you. Um, I lost control many times. This is how murders occur. This is how people get beat down. This is how bad things happen to us because we lose control of ourselves long before other people uh, get angry with us or upset with us. We lose control long before that. So maybe that's something to assess today. If you can find a quiet place in your house, your apartment, your condo, wherever you're at, if you can just get like 10 minutes to yourself and really think about that. Um, the control that you have over yourself, it will determine the control others have over you. Let me say that again. The control you have over yourself will control how others, the amount of control others have over you. So if you're in full control of yourself, others can't be in control of you because you know exactly what you want. Therefore, when you say, hey, I want to get this book done at a certain time, your body and your mind will interconnect and become autonomous. This is no joke. I've experienced this many times. I'm still experiencing it. And I also know that this is how we were initially bred to be because our initial task was to get as much material as we can for beings that are higher than us. That's a whole nother show. Maybe in the future, down the road, we'll get into that. But we're actually literally created biologically to be as efficient as possible. It's only recently that that mindset has broken down because we're filled with distractions. Do you understand now? So once you limit the distractions in your life, you gain control. The lack goes away. So in the movie, he would have Eddie when he saw that his friend was killed on the couch, shot in the head. When he found his stash of these NZT pills, Eddie would have not lost control, and he would have said, "Yeah, it changed my life. I had an awesome time for a day, but I know um, this is this is the pill doing this. This is not me at this moment doing this, and I see the severe consequences. I could end up killed. So, yeah, it's really enticing. And I want to take it, and this is how drug addicts think. Actually, drug addicts are only worried about the immediate gratification of the moment that the moment brings to them. Because as the old cliche says, the grass is always greener on the other side, which isn't true. If you mow your lawn or somebody mows your lawn and you're pleased with that, why does the grass have to be greener on somebody else's property? Aren't you going to be admiring your own? And this goes with us. When you look in the mirror and look at yourself, why are you not admiring yourself? Is it because somebody told you it's arrogant? Yeah, it's you're full of it. You're egotistical. Who cares? Because you're in control of yourself. It's the lies that create doubt. Now, if you have work to put in, like I do, constantly, day to day, and you're neglecting that work that you must be putting in to refine yourself, to enhance yourself, to better yourself, yeah, then it's easier to lie to yourself. You say, oh, I'll get it done tomorrow. But see, tomorrow never comes because we're not guaranteed we're even going to wake up from our sleep, which is another illusion. But let's move on to clip three. Clip three says, things stop working when we hit our Perceived limit. Things stop working when we hit our perceived limit, revisiting the past to move on to the future. This is a big one. So I was going to use the scene out of the movie again, and it dealt with Eddie meeting his brother-in-law because he had been married to this woman, and the brother-in-law was the one that got shot on the couch after whatever he did. They don't really go into it in the movie what he did to get killed, other than you had a suspicion that somebody wanted his huge stash of these NCT pills, and he did something. So, but Eddie meets him on the street before he goes into his apartment. All this transpires where the brother-in-law gets shot and killed, and and Eddie's narrating to himself. He's narrating. He's thinking to himself, and he's saying, "Man, I really don't want to meet this piece of shit, such and such and such." But it pointed out something that's very powerful. It pointed out that don't judge the messenger, judge the message. Don't judge the messenger, judge the message. Because again, we're limiting ourselves. I've gotten messages, great life changing messages from people that I either didn't like, people that I, at the time, I'll be honest, looked down on, condemned, judged. And those messages actually enhanced me. And that's what they were showing in this film, that yeah, even though you don't like the guy, his personality, his ego, whatever it is he saying what he's saying? Can he help? So we perceive things, we perceive people in life that may not be an asset, but are they truly not an asset to us? Or is it just the way we emotionally feel in that moment? Just like back to my oil I was telling you about, this new oil sample that I have. Um, I put it on a few days ago. I didn't like it. I said, "Nah, I'm not going to wear this. I'm not even going to sell this. I don't like it." And someone told me, "Well, try it again. Put it on again today." And I did, and I love it. Give things a chance in your life. Give the person a chance. Doesn't mean you have to like everybody. You're not going to like everybody. You might not like most people, like me. But just because I don't like somebody doesn't mean that I won't work with them. I won't receive a life changing message from them, uh, because it's deeper than that. It's the universe shows no favoritism, so why should I? Yeah, do I like other people over others? Yeah, of course, we all do. But it won't stop me from working with somebody that's going to enhance us both. That will never happen, and that's how it is in business a lot of times. In business, you got to work with people that you're not going to get along with, that you want to go out and have a drink with. You got, if we all lived in our emotions 24/7, nothing would ever get done here. So things stop working when we hit our perceived limit. There is no limit. The limit is our perception. The limit is the amount of knowledge that we have on any given situation or moment. And whether we utilize it or not, that will be our limit. So there's things right now I'm not consciously aware of, only because I've never had knowledge of them. We can't know everything, which is great. We'd be overwhelmed and overloaded and stuck on our couch all day. But but yes, the more information we retain and have, the more limitless we become. That's the beauty about all this, because the information at its core is unlimited. No one can limit it. Not even if they shut down the internet. Nobody can limit it. And a lot of times we have to revisit the past. We have to look at things that worked for us in the past and things that didn't. Why keep doing the same thing over and over again? They call that the definition of insanity because it is. Am I going to keep going on one direction that never produces anything? No. That's what? A waste of time. The people that do that are people that are insane. And I'm not just talking about like the people that are talking to walls and, you know, pooping on themselves. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just people generally in relationships, my relationships from the past. My relationships from the past, especially with women, when I was young, were great. They were great. And the reason why they were great was because we weren't in an illusion or delusion that things aren't working right from the start or somewhere in the relationship, and we're only together because of money or whatever the circumstances. There's a lot of people doing that right now. But when I'm young, or when you're young and you're still living with your folks, and you don't have to worry about those responsibilities, um, in my experience, the relationship was great. It was great because we could focus. We could focus on each other, and therefore the relationship would grow. Once we start focusing on the money and all these things outside of that, then the relationship would die. That's in my experience. So I had to look at that before I got into the next relationship. But what I would do is I wouldn't look at that in my past. I would just think, well, the new person is somebody different, so that means the moment has to change. And no, it's not going to change because you haven't changed, man. You haven't changed. You refuse to change because, again, we look at mom and dad, sister and brother. We look at people outside of ourselves, and everybody's playing the blame game. At least in my experience. And the one to be blamed was always me. The one to be blamed was always me. Now, it's okay to blame yourself if there's some advantage to it, but I don't see any. I don't see any. Even if even if I don't feel well today, I will try to convince myself that it could be a lot worse, and that would bring me to a presence where I feel a lot better. I don't get in relationships today that don't focus on me. And when I mean focus on me, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be exclusively 100% focused on me. What I mean is the people that are in relationships with me, we all have the same similar focus. That's what I'm saying. So I will not hang out with, let's say, a guy that's into uh, canoes or whatever it is. Whatever it is. That doesn't make any sense. The same goes for people of the opposite sex, what they call the opposite sex. So today I revisit my past. I go back in time. People from my past have been popping up lately. And today I make a choice if I'm going to entertain them or not. I just told some people I never want to talk to them again. I would have never told them that before. Never. And the only reason why I say never is because before I used to put people above me and what I wanted. And therefore I thought they were more of an asset than I am to myself. And that is insane. I don't do that anymore. I don't live in insanity anymore. And neither should you. So currently, if you're in some type of relationship, where it's not working. You know it's not working. Why are you in it? And this doesn't have to be with a female, a male. This could be the job. That's another thing. I'm not one of these people where you should be in any situation or moment that you're not going to be happy in. I'm not saying being happy. You have to be happy from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, but you should be happy majority of the time. Else, what are you doing? Because your biological clock is ticking. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. It's interesting. The older you get, the more respect you have for what's going to come, and that's death. When you're younger, you at least in my experience, you believe you're invincible. You believe that you have all the time in the world. What about the young people that get shot dead in the street are going to get shot dead in the street tonight at the age of 17, 15, 13, 12? What about them? You think they thought they had all the time in the world? Yes, of course. We don't. The comfortability is an illusion. The comfortability is an illusion, and when you have to revisit the past, it's painful. I'm doing work on myself right now where I have to constantly revisit the past, and it hurts. It's painful because I have to look at aspects of myself I haven't looked at in a very long time, and I have to really be honest and say, "Hey, this needs to change." And the great thing about it is, I'm looking at it from a different perspective, from a more wiser perspective, almost like somebody that's estranged from the original personality that created what I perceive as a problem. I know I went pretty deep there, but the point that I'm making is we need to do this periodically with ourselves, or we're never going to get what we want, even if it's happiness. So if Eddie knew this from the movie Limitless, if Eddie knew this when he met his brother-in-law, and after seeing his brother-in-law shot dead there on the couch, Eddie would have never went for those pills in the oven. I don't need any pills today. That's what I'm showing you. You don't need anything but you. You are limitless. So let's get into the limitless that we are. So, clip number 4, tap into your memories. Tap into your memories. Clip number 4 was tap into your memories. And it shows a scene of Eddie in the hallway, and the landlord's wife is going off on him again. And Eddie takes one of these NZT pills, which makes his focus become laser focused. And he starts tuning her out. He realizes that she's just an emotional wreck and the problem's with her. And he notices that in her bag, while they're in the hallway, she has one of these books that he studied on law from his college days. We all have this power. So let's get into it. We all have this power. You don't need any other substance in you other than you and your knowledge. The key is to retain the information that you're taking in from somebody that's wiser than you. That's why a lot of times with me, before I started speaking, and I love to speak now, before I didn't like to speak. Why? Because I didn't have a lot of knowledge. I knew that part. There's a lot of people out here that speak that have no knowledge at all, but they love to speak. I see, at least I knew enough not to talk when I didn't have anything to offer. I knew that much. And that was due to also low self esteem, as they call it. Nobody really has anything low. I'm just using that for reference. So I don't like offline here. I don't use words low self esteem, and I don't do that. Nobody's low when they're born. We become something that we're not because our parents are programmed to do that to us. This is why at the end of the day, it's just you. You're the most important being on the planet right now. So Eddie sees his history book and they show it in the movie. It's a great movie. They show it in the movie. Eddie sees this book in her bag, and he remembers the book from his college days. He remembers studying it, and now he has a talking point with her to distract her. This is called NLP, or neuro linguistic programming. Highly suggest this. Uh, Highly suggest you study that if you want. Neuro linguistic programming. It changed my life too. But so he redirects her attention, and we can do this with ourselves. So you get a negative thought, you redirect it to a positive thought. I used to do this in the beginning when I was learning because I had a lot of negative thoughts, especially about myself. Oh, you're a jerk. No, you're kind. Oh, you talk too much. No, you have a lot to offer. Keep talking. Oh, that person over there, they don't like you. Look how they're looking at you. No, maybe they're staring at somebody behind me or a tree behind me or whatever. I have no idea until I ask them. Constantly. This going back and forth for years. In the beginning, in the beginning of my transformation, constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, checking myself, checking back and forth. I was really looking forward to this job. I didn't get the call back. Why? At the interview, the person said that I was basically in the door. Why don't you call them? Maybe they're busy. My car won't start. What's going on here? Did you forget you were going to bring it into the shop last week because it needed a tune up? So it's all based on perception. And as long as we focus on our perception, we don't need to focus on anybody else. See, when I was focusing on everything else, not on me, that's when problems occur. Does that make sense to you? That's when problems occur. When I focus on everybody else but myself, that's when the problems occur. That's why today I don't gossip. I used to gossip. I used to love gossiping. A lot of us love gossiping. Doesn't mean I don't talk about people and point out flaws and this and that. But I mean gossip, where your whole conversation is based on somebody other than you, and you're not comparing yourself and you're not pointing out what's going on with you. That's gossip. And men and women gossip. It's not just a women thing. Men and women gossip. I don't gossip today. I don't even have time to gossip today. I'm so much into refinement and working on myself. I don't have time to be thinking about anybody else during the course of my day. That's just the truth. Until the moment allows me to. Now, when I think about people, I actually let them know I'm thinking about them. I used to I used to hear that a lot. I still do, not as much, but I used to hear that a lot when I would call people and say, "Oh, I'm just thinking about you," or "I was thinking about you." Yeah, that may be true, but why am I the one always initiating the conversation with you? So, revisiting the past to move on to the future. So we have to look back at what we did in the past, what works and what doesn't, before we can move on. Now we're in click forward, tap into your memories. Very important. I set a reminder for these live streams. If you don't remember to come and watch these live streams, well, How would you remember anything if you don't remember to if you don't have a thought to remember? How would we function basically is what I'm saying. We live off our memory. We don't in order to live in the moment or what we're calling the present, there has to be a memory. Imagine if you didn't remember who you were or who you are. Re- Imagine that just for a moment. Imagine that you didn't remember who you are. You know how hard it would be to exist here? You'd be a virtual vegetable. Tap into your memories. What works and what doesn't work. There's memories right now that give us a great happy emotional feeling, and then there's ones that make us feel really bad. Why do you think I can remember clear as day when women would leave, because women mostly left me because I didn't have balls enough to leave them. I do now, but back then I didn't, because I was always sucking and trying to get something off them. Sound familiar? But see, I'm a leader now. So if I don't want something, I don't associate with it. But back then I didn't know that I couldn't do that. I didn't have the balls to do that. I puffed out my chest. I fought a lot. I was proving myself, arguing, gossiping, all this other feminine, and not to knock women, because I love you. I love females. I love the female anatomy, of course. But it's very feminine to do all stuff like that. You're not a man. You're not a leader in the relationship. So that doesn't feel good to me. So I will not often tap into those memories other to feel some type of I guess remorse, not regret, but remorse, so I don't make the same mistake. Now, somebody can teach you these things, but ultimately, it's down to us if we're actually going to live them. And I've been fortunate that most of the things I've been taught through the course of my life, I remember them and I live them only because I experienced them for myself in my own personable way. I can retain them. That is key to memory. It's a lot easier to remember things when you experience them. Let me say that again. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to remember anything if you implement it in your own life, meaning you experience them for yourself, not through the teacher, not through other students or other people, but for you. This is where the uniqueness of us come in. It's a lot easier to retain information when you start living it. And life is a story, so it could be through books that you're reading. I've learned stuff out of fiction books. So tapping into those memories, it could save me a lot of time in my future. So I don't get myself involved in things that create a repeating pattern that put me in a predicament that I'm not happy with. And here's the key: what are you happy with? Especially for men, man. How are you in these relationships? How are you in these relationships with women and you don't even know what makes you happy? Sometimes it's just better to be alone for a while in order to really find and understand yourself. At least in my experience, it is. If you can't be content with yourself and happy with yourself, how's the other person gonna be happy with you? Because everybody's operating around you based on your personality. That's another thing. Everybody acts the way they do around you because of your personality, because of you. So if you don't like it, you got to change something. And when ever since I was young, I always wanted respect. I didn't know how to get it. I thought you had to fight to get it. I thought you had to act hard to get it. I thought you had to do all these things. You had to emulate other people that people respected to get it. No. What I learned is honesty builds trust, and then the respect comes. So I have to be honest with myself. People begin trusting in me, and then the respect comes. And see, I remember this constantly because if I don't remember this, I keep getting what I don't want over and over. No matter what it is, I'm telling you, no matter what it is, if you are honest with yourself, others begin to trust you. And when they trust you, they respect you, even if you owe them something in their mind. We don't really owe anybody anything, but even in their mind, if they feel you owe them something, they will still respect you. And this is big to me in relationships because when you have a relationship with anybody, there should be no ownership. There should be no owing. Just because I'm teaching you right now or giving you information and knowledge that's going to assist you and enhance you and benefit you from here on out, you don't owe me anything. I don't want you to owe me anything. I want you to give to me. I want you to give to me because you want to give to me, not because you feel like you owe me something. And see, that's how this society, I live in the States, that's how this society has been built to trick us. Let's move on. So, clip number 5 says organized thoughts create an organized life. Organized thoughts create an organized life. How do you organize your thoughts? Have you ever organized your thoughts before? Have you ever done that? Have you ever organized your thoughts before? Do you know the amount of work it takes to organize your thoughts? Do you know the amount of work it takes to organize anything, let alone your thoughts? Because what that means is everything, every thought, just about, because we can't monitor every thought, but almost every thought that comes into your mind, you have to be focused on. This is where people go insane, literally. But I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be a possibility in your life because you're not doing it by yourself. Because the consciousness that created us will assist you. Now, if you're religious and you call it God, whatever you call it, everything takes information because you wouldn't know about your religion or your God without somebody relaying that information to you. We're not born with that information. So that is assisting you. That is the one that's producing the thoughts that can assist you and benefit you. And it's just a matter of grabbing which ones you want, pulling them in to your heart so you can bloom and grow and bear fruit. And there's no way you're going to grow anything with an anxious, an angered, an agitated, an aggressive, type heart. It's just not possible because you're going to be so focused on what's not going right, where how can anything go right for you? Because again, it goes back to what we focus on is what is going to be produced, even if the external circumstances look dim and bleak. Now that doesn't mean that you lose focus to the point, or you keep focused just on, because you have people that are super I want to say super positive. You have people that are positive to the point that they're fake. I'll just say that you look at the person and you just want them to come on, just be honest. I know you get angry. I know you have. We all have different emotions in us, and I know you're not just this one happy-go-lucky type person all the time. So, um, what I'm talking about is taking what you desire and making it happen through focusing on the ways to get exactly what you want. So I wanted to live a life where majority of it was based in quiet solitude, meaning I wanted to come home to a quiet home. Basically, I couldn't be making these live streams if I had a family. I'll just tell you that. There would be no time, right? So I wanted to have time for myself in order to help others. In order to do that, I had to restructure my life in a way where I had a lot of alone time. I had a lot of time where it's quiet, where I could generate scripts, write down my thoughts, and be able to produce material that would resonate with people in the public to the point where it may change them and change their focus and attract to them what they really want out of life. I couldn't do that if I have kids running around me and I just have a family all around. I couldn't do that. Just me personally, I couldn't do that. I needed to have work that I do that is based in similar circumstances, meaning that I don't have to be called in at a certain time by a boss that thinks that I have no other life than the job. Um, and these are things we need to think about when we're organizing our thoughts, not only during the course of our day, but in life. And that's what this drug did for Eddie, is that it eventually made him organize his thoughts into a process that everything that he thought about, he eventually got. And that is where my life's at today. That's what my life is today. Everything that I wanted from while I was in the past, everything that I envisioned for this moment right now, I have got to. I've done a lot of things in my life up to this point where I would be satisfied if I did not wake up tomorrow. I'm just saying, I've done more things than most people. I've seen more things. I've lived in different life experiences than more people. Um, that I'm satisfied today. That I'm satisfied. Can you say the same? And if you can, that's a great thing. So I guarantee we begin to organize our thoughts, the life becomes organized, and happiness becomes the majority. Peace, contentment, quietness, quiet thought. Those negative thoughts that used to come in dwindle away to the point where they lay dormant. Have you ever noticed that something might come into your life and Okay, let's say somebody in your family gets hospitalized in, the insurance won't cover the entire bill and it costs thousands of dollars. Let's just say that. Do you notice that even before that bill comes in, you're focusing on it. You're focusing in on it before that bill even comes in. So every day when you get up, periodically throughout the day, you keep focusing and focusing and focusing and focusing and focusing and focusing on the very thing you don't want. And see, there's been many people in the past that talk about what I'm talking about right now, but they never give you like the answer. Why is that happening, and how do I stop it? And I'll tell you how. I'll tell you why it's happening and how you stop it. It's happening because you keep entertaining those thoughts, just like a movie. Do you notice that when you watch a really good movie, you forget about time around you? That's the same thing when we entertain thoughts we really don't want inside of our head. As soon as you start entertaining that thought you don't want, you lose grasp of time around you. And it doesn't matter if you were in a happy mood or a happy state prior to having that negative thought. As soon as you start entertaining that thought, everything stops. It's like the movie. And of course, because the universe is so awesome, that it'll give you exactly what you're entertaining, because that's what you're made for. You're made to retain information, and then through that information, we're made to produce what we think about the most. So yes, the thoughts are coming in. As soon as they come in, what I used to do is I would immediately say stop, because that stop is a trick to give you a split second or two to think of something totally different. But you have to be ready for it, because they're gonna come. And I notice a lot of people, they just flow through life and they allow thoughts to control them. That's how we become controlled, because the thoughts, you're not in control of your thoughts. It doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It only matters what you say to yourself. That's it. So I used to say stop in the beginning, a long time ago. I used to just say stop. I used to say it out loud. Then eventually, what would happen is when the thoughts would come in, and they even come in to this day, they'll always come in. The only difference is now it doesn't even get to a point where I entertain them. I can see the image of the thought coming in, and I immediately know what's going to happen next, which is it's not going to benefit me at all. So I immediately shift focus to something else. How do I do that? I start talking to myself, because talking to yourself is very healthy. This is part of organizing your thoughts. If you never talk to yourself, and I don't mean just talking to yourself silently in your mind, I mean talking like I'm talking to you right now in front of the camera. If you never talk to yourself, how do you know exactly what you're saying to yourself? Because remember, we can't monitor all the silent thoughts that we get coming to our mind. But we can pinpoint and recognize a lot easier when we hear the tone of our voice when we're speaking to ourselves. So if you find some time during the course of your day and you're not comfortable, even if it's in the bathroom, try talking to yourself out loud more than allowing the silent thoughts to talk to yourself. Because what will happen is you're anticipating you talking to yourself like I'm talking to myself now, where there's no room for those silent thoughts to come in anymore and take control and take over, because what you're doing is you're reprogramming your mind, you're reprogramming your brain. And this is back to NLP, or neural linguistic programming. And it's literally what hypnotists do. They talk to the person before they hypnotize them, right? So it sounds like the landscaper is here. I hear noise in the background, so we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Yeah, if you want to live an organized life, you have to begin talking to yourself out loud, out loud, out loud, out loud. We're all talking to ourselves, whether we hear the person talking or not. If you have thoughts, you're talking to yourself. So there's nothing taboo about it. But I suggest this is why people also do affirmations and utterances, and even when they're looking at their vision board, they're talking to themselves. So it's okay to talk out loud. I suggest it. This is actually the meaning of meditation, is to talk to yourself. And you talk about things that you want. So today, let's say I want to go to the beach. I'm going to go to the beach today. I'm going to have a great time. And you're literally programming yourself to experience these things. This is why media and advertising is so effective. And they too use NLP or neuro linguistic programming. So it works. And then over time, over the years, your life becomes more and more organized to the point where people come to you and they ask you for suggestions and they ask you, how do I do the same? Because they've watched you and see how you react to every situation, no matter what it is. And then the last clip is limitation is from within us. So at the end of the movie, Eddie becomes a politician, and Robert De Niro's character is so controlling. He thinks that Eddie owes him something because Robert De Niro is now part of this big corporation, and it's great because Robert De Niro thinks that he found out that Eddie was taking these NZT pills, and that these pills were controlling his mind and his brain. And Eddie tells him, "No, I've been off the pills for a while, and I got this political position." He became a senator. I got this position when I wasn't on the pills because, whether you believe it or not, those pills actually helped me to do what? They helped me to build new synapses, new connections within my brain that assist me in becoming who I am today, which is a more advanced, a more, beneficial being. So there's a lot of noise in the background, so it's making me lose focus. So that's what I'm going to end with today. I'm going to end with that the limitation is within us because there is no limitation. You don't need pills. You don't need anything other than you. You don't even need me. You don't need anything that I shared with you today because it's already inside of you. It's just a matter of you tapping into you and utilizing what's best for you, not what's best for me, not what's best for your spouse or mate or mom, dad, sister, you. And the only way that you can know what's best for you is if you talk to you. If you never talk to you and you just let the floating thoughts that keep coming control you, well, you're always going to perceive things from a limited point of view. I don't do that today. I don't advise others to do that. What I advise them to do is to get more in touch with themselves more than anybody else. And once they do that, they will be limitless. Thank you, everybody, for watching today. I appreciate you. If you like this content, um, I do have a Cash App. I do have a Venmo. I don't like PayPal because they take your money. Uh, I do have a link below. I have a new Buy Me a Coffee. Buy Me a Coffee. If you go there, you'll see the packages that I offer. You'll see material that I'm working on. And you can also make a donation there if you feel compelled to. Buy Me Coffee is similar to Patreon without the political limitations and censorship and all that. So go check that out. That's in the description below. And by the way, if you like the video, make sure you subscribe. Really appreciate it. Be well.